All right, here we go. Okay, after long last, I'd say probably close to 8 months, I think we're actually back with a new session 0 of our OSE game, which has changed from Stonehell to Dolmenwood. So we're going to do a. The idea is that instead of it being like a mega dungeon where the whole thing takes place in a dungeon, there will be a number of different possible dungeons that you may go into, but in general, it's going to be more of like a hex crawl. So we'll be exploring this sort of mystical British folklore based forest mini campaign that was made by Gavin Norman, the same person who wrote and compiled Old School Essentials, which is the system that we're using. So with that said, I wanted to give a quick shout out to all of the people on YouTube who have subscribed and liked and made comments on our original session 0, and I really appreciate the patience that everyone has shown in the interim time as we played through a bunch of other really cool games that were not broadcast. But my turn has come up again, so here we are again. So thanks again to everyone for hanging in there, and we are all back, so let's get to it. So, as I told you guys before, we need to make new characters, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if you really liked that character that you made back in April, it might be possible for you to recreate them. But that said, like the general concept, but they're probably going to have all sorts of different ability scores. But if you really like the concept of like the mage Ted or something like that, depending on what you roll, it's very possible that you could play that again. It just might be slightly different, but we do have a bunch of really interesting new options for you now with Dolmenwood. So once again, it is human only. All right. So, but where is my house rules here? So the classes that you can play are Cleric, the Dolmenwood Knight, which is not the Advanced Fantasy Player's Knight. That's a different kind. A Druid, a Fighter, a Friar, which is from Dolmenwood, a Hunter, which is from Dolmenwood, an Illusionist, a Mage, a Magic User, a Minstrel, which is from Dolmenwood, and a Thief. So those are the classes that are available to you. So the Dolmenwood classes are specifically in that document that I put up on Discord. The Mage is in Carcass Crawler 0, and everything else is in the Advanced Fantasy Player's Tome. So those are your options. Now, I am going to make it so the way that we're going to do dice rolling, the last time we did, I don't know if you remember, we did the 2d6 plus 6 method, which created like pretty awesome scores, and I didn't foresee for some reason the math didn't click with me that it automatically meant that you rolled 6 on 3d6 is what that basically meant, and you're adding 2d6 more. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the classic 46 drop lowest, which is been the standard pretty much across editions, that sort of thing. The probability curve on that is going to get you to like 14 is like I think the most likely to roll, I believe. So it's pretty decent. You're going to get a decent set of scores unless you're extremely unlucky. But in order to mitigate just going slap happy with everything, it's going to be 6 times down the line, no changes, no rerolls. You get to roll that shit once, and it goes straight down the line. Strength, intelligence, wisdom, dex, con, charisma. That's the order, the old school way. All right, so make sure that either you write that down or you see that on your character sheet there. No rerolls, no mulligans, nothing. So this will determine what you can play. But do remember, too, that Old School Essentials, there are not a lot of strict requirements, especially for human classes. If you were an elf or a halfling or a dwarf, for instance, it's a little bit tougher to meet some of the requirements. But for humans, it's not too shabby. So why don't we start with just going down the line. Then we'll talk about what your class options are and go through some of them. So go ahead and roll them dice. Yep.
I'm just going to give you a warning that my awesome computer will not let me open any of your OSC attachments.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Apparently I have some sort of viral scan issues or something. So I'll be flying blind.
All right.
We got your back.
Thanks,
I
man.
got to fall off my screen here.
Can't wait to make my minstrel with the 3 charisma. It's gonna be awesome.
You got it.
Okay.
We play this crap.
One player at a time, John, or
No, you're all rolling dice, so just
All right,
go ahead and roll your
you don't
dice.
want to
And
use an online die roller for stats or anything, or can I just put down?
no, all dice rolling is by it was the honor system. Just remember, you're kicking yourself if you cheat. So don't
You
cheat.
gotta put morals on us and stuff. All right, 46 and drop the lowest. All right.
Yep. Down the line.
Ooh, 12 strength.
14 strength, not bad.
13.
Ooh. 15 intelligence.
Yeah, why don't you just call them out as you get them? That'd be kind of cool, so people can.
11 int.
Okay.
I want to show you guys this. I'm going to show you this one real quick.
13 int.
I don't know if you can see that.
I can't see
You
it.
see that?
No.
Seemed to be some kind of fuse.
What is it?
It is a 3 1s and a 3 for my wisdom.
Yeah.
Love it.
I might need a calculator to do that one. I'm not
Oh,
really sure.
Ted. That's unfortunate.
3 1s and a 3.
arcane influence. Somebody's casting evil spells on us, man. What the?
Okay, I got a 10 wisdom. I will save us all.
All right, there you go.
What did I get? I got 5, a 6, and a 3.
13 con.
Amazingly, that's not the worst character I ever rolled.
14 wisdom, yeah. How much?
All right.
I'm
Team
rolling
Dex.
pretty good, honestly.
Shut up, David. Nobody wants to hear about your.
What?
I more than anyone here would prefer to have the worst stats. Okay.
Yeah, you would, and that's the bitter irony.
You can have.
All right.
Well, here we go. 16 con. That'll work.
14 dex. Pretty average, except for the one-legged bread over here at the next play.
13 charisma.
Okay, everyone got their stats down?
14
Yes.
con, one more. Always the slowest. 11 charisma.
Okay, does anyone have 16 or higher or anything? Just raise your hand. Okay. So,
Screw
Matt,
you, bro.
Matt, what is your 16?
I have a 16 in con.
Con. Okay. Does anyone have lower than an 8?
Yes.
Okay. What do you guys have lower than an 8?
5 wisdom.
Constitution.
5 constitution. Holy shit. All right. Okay. Cool.
Trust me, nothing bad can happen. It's all good.
All right. Cool. All
You're
right.
gonna be running around with a fighter with 2 hit points again. I can feel it. I feel it coming.
Okay. So, your. Okay. Let's see how we do this here. Give me a second. Let's look at our requirements. And then we've got the player's tome here. All right, so a cleric, I believe, is only a wisdom. No, okay, so let's just run down the line what the requirements are, so you know what you're able to do. Cleric, there is no requirement, none. You can have as low wisdom as you want, doesn't matter. Dolmenwood Knight requires a con 9 and a wisdom. I mean, a con 9 or a dexterity 9. A druid, no requirements. Fighter, no requirements. Friar has no requirements.
Does fire look a monk?
No, it's not a monk at all. It's like a friar. The hunter requires a con 9 and a wisdom 9. The illusionist requires a dex 9. Interesting. The magic user, I believe, is no requirements. The minstrel requires an intelligence of 9. And I think the thief is no requirements either. No requirements. And then the mage... Going through all my books here.
Oh.
None.
Yeah.
None. Now, all of these things have prime requisites, but the prime requisites, all they do is give you either a 5% or 10% bonus based upon what your score is in those. So you don't really.
And what do you have to have over in your prereq before you get the bonus?
I believe it's 13 to 15. I believe is how that works.
13 to 15 gets you a 5% bonus, and 16 and higher gets you the 10% bonus.
Yeah.
Okay. I probably will end up playing the Magic User then, guys. Just so you know, I have a
That's what I.
pretty decent in score.
What was your head?
15.
Oh, nice.
I will, with a 14 dex, I will probably either do a hunter or. Bless you. Guess I could do a thief as well.
Oh, I don't seem to have the stats for an illusionist. Where's that at?
You gotta have a dex of 9.
No, I meant the character description.
The Advanced Fantasy Player's Tome.
Yeah, it's in the
it's in
PHP.
my book. 62.
Page
Yep.
62.
I don't think there is.
It's a Dex 9 minimum.
I
Prime
must have the wrong
requisite,
tome then.
Did you hear me?
I'm sorry. What?
Did you say, John?
Can you guys not hear me?
David?
So
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Someone asked me a question.
David was, I think.
I did not. I answered your question, Ted.
My question? You paid? Yeah, I think I must have the wrong PDF here. I have the OSE Players Rules Tome, and that's the wrong one?
In the resources, the Advanced
Yep.
Fantasy Player's Tome.
Okay.
So, is there a class where con is your prime? C1.
I don't know that there
It sounded like the Dolmenwood Knight had a con requirement.
That's a
He has a
requirement.
con
That's different.
requirement, and I'm looking at night. That could be fun.
Has anyone decided what they're going to play?
Magic User.
Magic User. Okay.
I'll be a hunter. Why not? We're in the woods. Let's do it. I never play.
You have the
Rangers.
requirements.
I do.
Okay.
It's basically a reskinned ranger, right? I don't know actually. Hold on.
It's like a ranger, but it's I think cooler. It's
Nice.
got some more interesting stuff going on.
I never play rangers, so we're gonna do it, y'all.
So it's on page 42 of the Dolmenwood Player's Book.
Yep, you got it. Oh, animal companions though. Do you not want to? Am I wrong in assuming that you disliked animal companions?
I do in any edition that's not old school D&D.
Fair enough.
Any edition where they're like got some sort of fucking stat block and powers and like that kind of bullshit. Like, no, thank you.
So, John, I can't access your Dolmenwood thing, but I found the OSE book on Necrotic Gnome. Is there any substantial changes to the Magic User for that?
No, the Magic User. You have the rules for the Magic User?
From the Necrotic Gnome website.
Oh, from the SRD? Yeah, that's
Drive Through RPG.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. If you want to play something that's more flavorful or something like that, don't not play it just because you can't pop it up on your screen right now.
Yeah, I can screen cap and send it to you via the Discord.
Cool. I'll sort out my viral thing later. Is the mage more like a Gish than just a spellcaster?
You get a
He
sword.
doesn't cast spells. He's got some like arcane knowledge. He can cast scrolls. Uses swords. Doesn't wear armor.
Yeah, it's sort of orthogonal to what you.
It's what I was going to play in Stonehell, but this set of stats is not any good for a mage. So.
Well, does anyone else want to play that? Because I can play that class too. If that's more flavorful, right? That's like more in tune with the Dolmenwood theme.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with Dolmen. It's just a different way of playing a magic user, in that you don't get to ever choose your spells. You just have a set number of abilities, just like a thief does, and you have percent chances to do those things.
Gotcha.
But that's it, right? It's it's like a magic user greatest hits sort of thing.
I'm going to stick with the regular old vanilla Magic User.
Okay. Has anyone else chosen their class?
Yeah, I'll be a Dolmenwood Knight.
Great. And Ted?
Oh, sorry.
Any idea, Ted?
Don't.
Okay, take your time.
I gotta say, a 5 Constitution makes it hard.
Sounds like you need to be a cleric so you can pray for survival.
It's hard for any class. I mean, every class needs con.
The problem, I mean, I'm not trying to complain, but like the ability scores that I have best suited to characters with low hit points already, and a 5 con is not going to help that.
Thief, you want to slink around and avoid people?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking Thief is probably not a bad option, to be honest.
Oh my god, dude, that's like -2 hit points per level.
I know.
Play a fighter. Please play a fighter. Please.
Yeah.
If you play a fighter, you will be the only one that survives this campaign. I guarantee it.
I've been telling my in person group at the store too this that, and I know it's hard to break away from this, and you don't have to do this, but the way the de-emphasizing of ability scores and their worth in the game allows you the freedom to choose classes that don't necessarily line up with what you would normally assume that they would be attached to a certain, like a strength for a fighter sort of thing, right? Like you can play with the order of the stick fighter who's like super smart because it doesn't really matter as much. Yeah.
I entirely agree with that based on our experience with the Oak in the Hole, Hole in the Oak.
Rather. Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I would counter that losing 2 hit points per level is the exception to that.
Yeah, it's hard, but don't at first level though. There's a minimum that you're going to have, so even your penalty won't.
Oh, that's true.
Your penalty won't affect you on first level.
I think you're right, David. I think I should be a fighter.
I think you should be a fighter. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. I mean, don't just follow my advice. But the thing is, if you play a thief, again, don't follow my advice. But it'll be familiar, and you'll reinforce that fear. If you play something where you have to face it, you'll probably be creative and have fun with it.
You'll be dead.
It's just about, or you'll be dead.
You're going to die.
Hey, what better a thing to experience than death?
That's why I wanted to play a rogue in following up your 0 level thing, Ted.
Yeah.
My guy had like a 5 dex, and he was like limping and lame, and I was like,
It's amazing.
There's other ways to be a rogue than walking on walls and picking pockets. You know?
Right. But it's just like that's memorable, and that's how oftentimes you distinguish yourself in these OSE ones where there's not a lot of flavor built into the class, like with mechanics, right? The mechanics don't define the flavor. It's sort of like, a lot of times it's the way you choose your ability scores and the way you lean into them. And then, of course, the big thing that gives you your flavor is your equipment. So,
everybody else?
Yeah, everyone's built. We're
Midnight.
Noble Knight, yes.
I went with the hunter.
Which is a sort of a ranger kind of thing, right? Yeah. And Mike, you're what?
Magic user, man. Because I'm going to look cute on the end of a spear.
Adorable. Ah, jeez.
John.
Mm-hmm.
Advice. Second language for my very clever knight. Priest? Woman? Half? Probably not Sylvan, right? Knights are kind of anti. A Dolmenwood Knight is against the fairy.
Not necessarily, no. It might be something that you would have a reason to know. That I made. There's a bunch of different languages. I made those 4 as your choices because I could reasonably see anybody in Dolmenwood knowing those languages for any reason. Okay. So you don't have to. You could pick them at random, and it would be totally viable. If you want an explanation of what each one of those is, I can totally give it to you. But there are some languages that are in the book that I just made not available. And then you can also see the additional 2, liturgic and crooked script, if you have the relevant backgrounds.
So like a one-liner of the like Sylvan, I can get that. That's like the fairy language.
Mm-hmm.
Caprice, Domin, and Gaff. What's
So Caprice and Gaff are both Goatish languages. Gaff is the more common goat language, and Caprice is a little bit more high-minded, like the nobility. So there is actually goat people actually inhabit Dolmenwood as citizens, and can hold title and nobility and aristocracy the same as humans have, and they have for thousands of years. Actually, they were as sentient species. They actually inhabited the wood prior to humankind, and came in contact with the fairies that when the Cold Prince actually dominated the land at the time. So then when the humans kind of came in, they kind of joined, and so there are a number of noble houses that hold title and land in Dolmenwood, but they're split between goat lords and human lords, and there has actually been intermarriage in between the two, usually not very pretty looking. But anyways, the goat people, there are shorthorns, which are the common folk, the longhorns, which are usually the nobles, or the upper class, and then there are the crookhorns, which are the corrupt and bestial ones, which aren't really part of society. So that said, Caprice is usually the language of that the longhorns speak, and Gaff is the one that the shorthorns speak. Domin is the language of the larger Imperium, of the I don't call it the Imperium. I totally forgot what my homebrew fucking name for the it's the Domin. It's the Baccarat Domin. Yeah, so it's the language of the entire empire, but it's more of like Latin. It's it's not dead. It's spoken, but it's been devolved in this far-flung frontier of the empire. Into what is known as Woldish, which is the common, which is what you guys all get Woldish to start with. But that's a far debased version of Domin.
Okay, so yeah, like Latin.
Yeah.
I like the idea of speaking Caprice and talking to fancy goat people.
There you go.
You know what Domin is like? It's like a heavy, thick, rural Sicilian accent versus like northern Italian accent. You know what I mean? It's like it's so vastly different. It's almost a different language, but you might be able to understand it if you were from northern Italy. That's what Woldish is like versus Domin.
Hey Ted, I'm gonna stop backseating you, I promise. But when John was talking, I made the realization that none of us are interfacing with the Peleatic Church, which is a very interesting element of Zonebrew.
Yeah.
I would consider changing over to a cleric to do so if you aren't interested in a cleric, though I think you could roll a cleric as well. Something to think about. I just remember it being very cool. So if any of us wanted to have a character that actually relates to that feature, it might be
pretty cool. I do remember reading about it. It was pretty awesome.
And you have the mind for it, which is why I think you would do a good job at it. But again, it's up to you. If you're undecided.
All right, so John, what should I be writing down now for my character? I didn't pick languages. I know I get my native language plus one additional one.
Because of your intelligence?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get Woldish.
Okay.
And then you can choose one of those four to be your other one. Okay. All right, so let's see. Hold on a second. Oh, I see. Okay.
With an 11 intelligence, I don't get a bonus language, right? No.
Right, so on your class list there, you want to write down the features of the class. You want to write down what your XP for next level is. Now, you'll be thankful, Matt. We are going to be using ascending armor class and attack bonuses. No Thaco. So in the THAC0 column of the class tables, you want to write down, and I believe I have a box that I made in the character sheet called BAB for all you 3rd edition fans, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to write down the number in brackets, not the unbracketed number. So, for instance, I think it's all 0 for every. In fact, I know it is. All of your THAC0s should say 19, but you're not going to write that down. You're going to write down 0 or plus 0. Okay, so that is your basic attack bonus. That's what you're going to add to your D20 roll every time you attack. Cool. You can write down your saving throws, which are all there at first level. If you're a spellcaster, you can write down what your spells per day are, so on and so forth.
I just go ahead and pick my first level spell, John.
Nope.
Yeah. Should be so lucky.
Yeah. You're also going to want to write down the numbers that are associated with your ability scores, right? So I kind of put a divider on each block, so the left one on the left should be the score, and then on the right you can kind of notate what the mods are, right? So on the right hand side too, there is a bunch of boxes for exploration, so it'll give you like what your open stuck doors is, so you can write that in from your strength. Your wisdom modifier, if you've got a high wisdom, will give you plus to your magic saves, which is directly underneath all your saving throws. Your dex will be you do not have to write down the initiative. We're not using an individual initiative, so that doesn't matter at all. So you're just going to write down, it's just a flat modifier. This is to both your AC and to your missile attacks. It's the same regardless. So if you have a high dex, you might get one of those. And then charisma, the god stat of OSE. You're going to want to write down your NPC reaction modifier, the maximum number of retainers you can have, and the loyalty that those retainers have, which is basically like their morale. All right, so you can write all that stuff down. So for starting hit points, house rule, we did this back in April as well. You're going to start with a minimum hit point total equal to the average starting hit point rounded up of the hit point roll of whatever you're doing. So that's basically a 3, a 4, or a 5 based upon whether you're a D4, a D6, or a D8 hit die. So everyone can roll, and if you get higher than that average, then you get that. But you cannot go lower than that average. So for Ted, for your con 5, and you, well, we haven't picked what you are yet, but whatever it is, you can't get below 3, 4, or 5. Okay? All right, so if everyone wants to roll their hit points.
Dice are 1d4, though.
Right, okay, so your minimum is 3. Actually, no matter what, your hit points are going to be 3. What are you playing, Ted?
Well, I think I'm going to do a fighter. I'm going to do a fighter.
We have a very beefy party.
I'm not beefy.
We have a hunter, a knight, a fighter, and then a magic user. All right.
I know who we're bullying.
Okay, roll hit points, please.
So it's just one of our hit dice, right?
Yep.
Dudes. So I take a 3 if I got a 2.
Yep.
All right.
And
do I add my con on there or no?
Yep. If you have it high enough for a bonus.
I do.
Okay, so minimum is 3, like you explained, because I just rolled a 1. So.
No, it's not a minimum. What's your?
Oh, wait, I'm confused.
The hunter is a D8, right?
D8.
Yes.
1 on it.
You rolled a 1, so the average of a D8 is a 5, so you have a 5. 5 plus your con.
Gotcha.
Oh, Ted, you should look at Friar, man. Those are cool.
Friars are very cool versus clerics. Here's the deal in OSE. Clerics cannot cast spells at first level. They are literally like fighters. They're like frontline people, but they have yet to prove themselves to their god. And so they have not been granted the ability to cast divine magic. Friars, however, their faith is so strong that at first level they can cast spells. So they actually have a higher spell progression than clerics, but obviously they are weaker in a fight, in a toe-to-toe fight.
Yeah, but they also get a bonus to their AC, like an built-in bonus to their AC, and they get culinary implements. A friar can employ a frying pan, cured sausage, or even a hand
Yeah.
crank.
They're
So
also
even a hand crank is an improvised weapon.
they're also
I
much
don't
better.
know why you would not do that. That would be amazing.
They're also much better at forging. And I should note that we're going to be doing some heavy procedural stuff as far as like hex crawling and stuff like that. And so those kind of things that might look a little bit boring on the surface, the Hunter is another one that has a lot of that kind of stuff. Will come into play.
That's why I grabbed the Hunter, figuring that much. The Friar looked really interesting to me too.
Look at the whole package and what they might do in an exploration-based game, not a combat-based game.
Yep. Sounds like you're going to be a Friar, Mike.
Oh, dude, I don't have the wisdom for it.
Was that your 5? Was the wisdom?
Yeah, my wisdom is a 5.
Anyways,
probably
does everyone understand the hit point roll? Did everyone do that?
Yeah.
Everyone's got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In subsequent levels, what you roll is what you get. All right. But this.
If I roll a 1 and I subtract 2 from it, do I get nothing?
No, you always get 1.
You always get minimum 1. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to quickly go through.
Sorry, John. If you guys really want someone to be, more on the church side of things, I don't want to play a cleric, but I'll happily play a friar.
Ted, play whatever you want, whatever you're feeling.
Live a long and glorious life.
Fighter. Fine. We're done.
Okay. All right. I'm going to briefly go through the huge change that you guys all remember this from last time, but I just want to put it out there for the audience as well, because this shakes up the entire system, basically, at least for combat, is that your hit die determines your weapon damage. So there is no more variable weapon damage like in every other edition of Dungeons & Dragons, right, where a two-handed sword does a D10, a longsword does a D8. No. If you have a D8, which is our knight, our fighter, and our hunter, that is the damage die that you do in combat with any weapon.
Hell yeah.
Okay? It doesn't matter what it is. And if you are a magic user, you use a D4 because that is your hit die. So if you're hitting with a staff or you're hitting with a dagger or a dart, whatever, it's a D4 for damage. Now, the upside to that for the magic user is that I have lifted the restrictions for weapon use for almost all the classes, which means that your magic user can carry around a sword and can wield it. It's just that when he hits with the sword, it's a D4. It's not a D8. Okay, so so there should be a box on the character sheet. I believe I just don't have one in front of me where that indicates what your hit die. I think it's like hit die / damage. Yep. I believe. So you're going to put D8 or D4 depending on who you are. And the way that we're differentiating, so why would you choose a two-handed sword versus a longsword sort of thing, right? Well, it's because of weapon traits. So the traits that we went through back in April have been refined by me. They've been reduced a lot. I had a long think about it, and what I think I'm going to end up doing is that in combat there will be a lot of special cases where I'll make judgment calls at the time, the rulings versus rules sort of OSR thing, instead of like codifying it in a trait. So things like if you're in a 5-foot wide corridor, I'm probably going to on the spot give you like a -2 penalty if you're swinging your two-handed sword around, sort of thing. But I'm not going to codify that and saying it's like you must have 10 feet of space around you or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. The trait list is been taken off the house rules document. I have now made a armor and weapons list, which is in the resources, which is lists all of the stats for all armor and weapons, in addition to all of my house rules for those weapons. So it has all the traits, and then it defines the traits at the end of the list. And I believe I've got a thing that I can probably share with everybody. There we go. Enjoy, audience. Armor and weapon list. It's a couple of... you guys have that up? It's in the resources.
I have it up.
Yeah, so...
Is that how that works?
What?
It's just showing up in the stream only? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I've got a box showing it on my... I'm just saying that cool. It's available to you as a PDF. So it shows the cost and the weight, and then the traits, and then the traits are defined for each weapon. And I also added my flail which I just think helps to round out some of the cleric selections as well. Yep. So the traits are pretty much what you kind of expect. The only one that's like brand new is deadly. This is where you get advantage on damage dice, right? A lot of weapons are deadly. Most of them are two-handed weapons. So when you do hit with it, you get to roll damage dice twice and take the higher roll. I like it. It's nice because I think pretty elegant as well because it still caps damage. It doesn't increase the cap. It just makes it more likely that you're going to hit that cap, right? Makes it very easy as far as designing things goes, monsters and all that sort of stuff. If you want to attack with two weapons, you first have to meet the requirement. You have to be a strength or dex based. You have to have strength or dex as a prime requisite. Okay, in order to attack with two weapons. If you attack with two weapons, you get one attack, but you get to roll that with 5th edition advantage. Okay, so speeds up combat makes it like a dual wielder not have to like roll twice and roll damage twice. It's like you make one roll, one damage roll, and you make that roll with advantage. So you're just more likely to hit. That's the trade-off for not using a shield. On the other hand, shields are bumped up to a +2 bonus. They're really juicy, and we have the whole thing from Hole in the Oak. Shields shall be splintered, so they can take any hit and be utterly destroyed. Helmets can also be bought and worn. If you take a helmet, you can negate one critical hit before it's torn asunder. But having a helmet on also gives you a -1 to your surprise roll for you only. Just because you don't have full field of vision, ears are covered, yada yada. We're going to be using detail encumbrance, just like Hole in the Oak, just what you were doing before, right? So treasure, weapons, and armor are counted. Adventuring gear is a flat 80. Just make sure that you're not doing anything obscene with what you're carrying. And you have in the resources also your expanded adventuring gear list, which is from Carcass Crawler issue 0. Which is the original OSE list plus a lot of the first edition AD&D list, which just kind of rounds it out with a bunch of more interesting stuff like chalk and candles and bells and interesting things for you to choose from, which is, I think, where the true fun of this edition comes from, is finding interesting ways to use shit. So you got that. Magic users and illusionists. Let me go bring this back up here. Hold on. Magic users. You're going to use the optional advanced spellbook rule, so you're going to remember this, Mike, from first edition. So this is where your intelligence is going to determine what your chance of
learning a spell.
Learning a spell. Do you have that up on the SRD? I don't know.
I'm looking for it now. Which I figured out a workaround for downloading your things. Which one should I be looking in? Is it the house rules?
No, the player's tome. The advanced fantasy player's tome.
Oh, I have that up. Okay.
Cool. So, that is where...
I'm looking to see if it's under the class, or is it under the magical research, maybe? Spellbooks? Spells, page 110. Memorize spells.
Yeah, it's under magic. Yeah.
Spellbook.
So page 112. So, yeah, what's your intelligence?
15. So
15.
it looks like it's a 75% chance. Oh, wait, that's of copying.
Yep. So you want to write that down.
Okay.
That's gonna be important. And then your beginning spells in your spell book. This is the big one, right? So you're gonna have 4 spells in your spell book. Normally, under the core rules, you have exactly the number of spells that you can actually cast. So you would have 1 spell, and you would be able to cast that once. So now you can still only cast 1 spell a day, but you're gonna have 4 spells to choose from. I do allow all magic users to have read magic for free. So one of your spells is read magic. That doesn't mean you can just cast it. You still have to memorize that and have that be your spell, but you do have it in your spell book. And then in addition, you're going to have another 4. Okay, and we're going to roll for
So
those.
I have a 75% chance. Let me go down to the magic user spell list.
No. You get the spells for free. It's just like in-game, whenever you come across another spell, you have a 75% chance of copying it.
Okay, so I don't have to do this for starting spells.
No.
For starting spells, I can just... Okay, cool.
No.
All right, very good.
All right, so why don't we roll page 119. roll a d12 4 times. If you get a repeat, you can roll it again.
Okay, find 119 real quick. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Aha, I'm there. Okay, so I just roll. I gotcha. All right, so 12-sided. Okay, I'm not going to even look at the list,
Cool.
so I don't. I got a 3. 3 is
Floating disc.
Floating disc.
That's
That's
a
really good for exploration.
Really good one for first level. Yeah. There are two encounter enders in first level. Let's see if you get one of them.
I know. I know what they are, dude. 12.
Ventriloquism. Yeah, baby.
Crap.
Please don't kill me.
File that under things I will never actually memorize for the day.
Please attack the others.
5. I got lights.
Light, sweet. Light's a good one in this edition.
Light is a good one. And 10 shield.
Shield, nice.
Oh wait, but I actually only get to roll 3 times, right?
No, you get 4. You're 4, and then you get your 5th is read
plus
magic.
read magic.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's no sleep spell, but sure.
It's no sleep spell. Okay. So, right, and thieves, although no one is playing a thief, are going to be using D6 thief skills, which are from Hexcrawl issue number 1. At the time we recorded the last one, someone was going to be a thief. I think it was Mike. And we had done this whole 2d6 Dyson Logos house rule thing that we were going to be implementing, and Carcass Crawler issue number 1 had not yet been released. Well, lo and behold, it does in the interim time, and it's actually a much more elegant and easy to grasp system than Dyson. So it's really cool. When you have the time, you can look it up. It's basically very similar to the Lamentations of the Flame Princess implementation of the Specialist class, which is their version of the Thief, where you basically are allotted like a number of points, and those points are basically pips on a d6, and so you start with the chance to do all of your thief skills 1 and 6, but you get 4 points to allot to any skill that you want, any of the skills that you want, and each point that you allot increases that chance by 1. So if you wanted to put another dot and pick pockets, you would then have a 2 and 6 chance, right? That sort of thing. And you have 4 of those to distribute. And then every level that you go up, you get another point. Very, very cool. Very, very easy to do. And it makes them much more usable. Like you'd be much more likely to use them and succeed. But none of you guys have to worry about that. So I look forward to you guys stumbling into traps. When we drop to 0 hit points, Ted has experienced this firsthand in the other game. We use the Death and Dismemberment table by one Arnold Kemp, the guy who wrote Lair of the Lamb, which some of you guys experienced the other week. So Death and Dismemberment, basically, it's all sorts of nasty Warhammer sort of awfulness can happen to you. Instead of dying, losing limbs, being burned so badly that you can't wear armor, things like of that nature. And then if you do take a fatal wound, it's similar a little bit to 5th edition in that you have like a number of rounds that you have to make saves before you die, and then you need help from your friends in order to staunch the wounds. But it's very difficult. There's no medicine skill in this. Basically, anyone who wants to try to bandage you up has to roll half their intelligence or under, rounded down, on a d20. So, very, very tough. And what other things to note? Healing, natural healing is very tough. You get 1d3 hit points of full day's rest. That means not an 8-hour in the wilderness rest. That means you do nothing else but in the day, but rest comfortably somewhere, secure and safe. You get 1d3 hit points. Otherwise, you get nothing. And XP is XP for gold and monsters. Monsters, just like Hole in the Oak, give you a lot less than gold and treasure. So always seek out the gold. That's the what will get you the XP. The only other way to get XP is to carouse in a settlement. Carousing rules are in effect. So Yeah, that's the way it goes, I think. I think that pretty much does it for all of my house rules.
So, John, I have a question for you, sort of house rules related.
Uh-huh.
I know we talked about this and worked on some of this in Hole in the Oak. The traits feature on all your weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I know your original design was to, encourage individual weapons use because they would all be different from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going over the list and just immediately noticed that like mace and warhammer and club lesser because it's a little bit different price, but mace and warhammer are basically the same. Didn't they originally have something that differentiated them? I thought you had said...
Yeah, one was going to be +1 to like against plate mail, one was going to be +1 against chainmail, but it's so specific case. I was just like, fuck it, like that's just
okay. Okay. Mike has a question.
Yes, Mike.
Can I go pee?
Yeah, yes, you can go pee.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Don't forget
No, you may not.
Don't forget to take your hall pass.
Hall pass. All right. And then another question since Mike's gone. The movement rate under armor. The first one is the.
You don't have to worry about that. That's actually for basic encumbrance. So don't worry about movement. You don't have to write that stat down.
Okay.
Yeah, your movement is going to be determined from your total weight that you're carrying, which is how detailed.
John, you said that like our base weight for just regular equipment and stuff is 70.
80 for adventuring equipment, but adventuring equipment does not include weapons and armor. So make sure there's another box for that, right? You can kind of see that.
Weight of weapons, armor, and gear. Weight of treasure and coins. Just add an 80 to the total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See how much a horse costs. Apparently, I'm excellent at riding horses.
So wait, are we rolling for gold?
So you have your choice for equipment. You can roll 3d6 times 10, and then you can just spend to your heart's content whatever you'd like. Or I actually have a lovely quick start equipment thing that is, it's Dolmenwood specific. It's in the Dolmenwood book, and there's actually quick start lists for each specific class.
Really?
And you have to take the whatever you randomly roll, but it's kind of fun. And then what you get in addition to all of that stuff is 3d6. Period. Like you can get a maximum of 18 gold after that, but you get all your equipment basically. You know what I mean?
Oh, so is it like it's a table based like randomized gear?
Quick gear generation.
Table?
Yes. Yeah.
But
It gives you your armor. It gives you your armor, your weapons, and your equipment.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's fun.
All right. Cool.
I like doing it live. Is there somewhere I should cross reference, or are you just gonna tell me?
I'll tell you what to roll. So first of all, you get these items just straight up. Okay. You ready in equipment? You get a backpack, a tinderbox, a water skin, and then I need you to roll a d6 torches.
One.
One torch, and d6 iron rations.
One.
One ration. All right, and then you get 3d6 gold pieces.
Wow. Really?
Yep.
Amazing. Okay, I got a 6 and 4 is 10 gold pieces.
So it's 3d6.
Yeah.
You said
I rolled
6.
3d6 and I got 10 total.
You said 6 and 4 though. Don't you have a third die?
I had a 6, 3, and a 2, so it's actually 6 and 5. 6
okay.
and 4.
Yeah.
So it's 12 instead of.
It's 9.
No, it is 11. It is
It's 11. It's 11. 11 gold
What am I
pieces.
doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
I was right the first time.
All right.
I question myself. Never mind.
So everyone gets you get that for basic equipment. Now roll a d12 twice.
Right, a d12 twice. Where is my d12? All right, I got a 6 and a 2.
All right, you have 10 sticks of chalk, a lantern, and 3 flasks of oil. All right, you're a hunter. I need you to roll me a d6 once. This is your armor.
Sorry. All right, D6 armor. Give me something good. I got a 1.
1, you have leather. And then roll me a d6 twice for 2 weapons that you start with.
All right. I'm really rolling a lot of 1s tonight, so it's a good sign, right? D6 twice for 2 weapons. That is a 6 and a 3.
All right, you have a sword and a longbow and 20 arrows.
Nice.
Cool.
That's good.
A longbow has requirements, though. Just be aware.
What are those?
I think you're okay. I think it's just you need strength as a prime requisite to even use it. It's specialized. It's specialized, which means
13 strength.
Yeah.
So.
I'm basically making it like part of the flavor thing too. Like longbow, I'm trying to be a little bit more realistic about it. Like those were volleying sort of weapons, right? Like you were not in like a scrum, like fucking shooting with a longbow. You know what I mean? It just it didn't fucking happen. You know what I mean?
No,
So just be aware.
All right.
And then I think that's it.
You said I had leather armor, right?
Yeah, leather. Yeah, and that's what you have.
And
So then you have your 11 GP to spend. Does anyone else want to roll on the tables for their equipment, or would you rather just have the money?
I'll do tables.
All right, cool.
Fun.
It's leather plus 1. We're doing ascending AC, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So that would give me an AC of 13, I think.
It's right there in the. So AC is 12, and then you add your dex.
Okay.
Dex applies no matter what armor you're wearing, so you don't even have to think about it.
Got it. So I have an AC of 13.
All right, so
I've got my backpack, tinderbox, water skin. I'm gonna roll for torches.
right on.
I have 5 torches.
Oh
thank you.
damn! All right, so
You dirt.
loaded,
And
and
roll for
rations.
ration.
Yep.
I have 3 iron ration.
Okay, 3d6 gold pieces.
Okay, that's more meager. That is 8.
8. Okay. All right, roll d12 twice.
That is a 6
Mm-hmm. And
and a 9.
okay, you have a lantern and 3 flasks of oil as well, and you not only have 50 feet of rope, but you have a grappling hook.
Ooh,
Hells yeah.
50 feet of rope
That's
and
a nice
grappling.
grappling hook.
Mm-hmm.
It's considered
Nice.
the most noble way to fight.
Of course.
Okay, and now I need a d6 for your armor.
5.
You have plate mail,
Oh,
Yep.
Yes.
and then roll 2 more d6 for your weapons.
you're gonna get a ham shank.
Got a 6 and a 3.
You have a sword and a lance, but no horse. All right. Anyone else want to do a quick start? Right on. Okay. So you know the deal. Backpack, tinderbox, water skin.
I actually don't know the deal because I was getting cookies. And
Okay. So in the equipment in the equipment box,
He
right?
said going to the bathroom. Excuse me.
Well, it's a euphemism.
Okay.
So, like,
You ready, Ted? I mean, Mike.
Mhm.
Equipment
What die am I rolling?
in equipment. Write down backpack, tinderbox, water skin.
Okay. Backpack, tinderbox, water skin.
Roll a d6 for torches and a d6 for iron rations.
Torches. 5 torches.
Nice.
And I'm sorry, D6 for what?
Iron rations.
Come on, big money, no whammies. 5 iron rations.
Nice.
Yeah, baby.
And you have 3d6 gold pieces.
All right. Okay. Big money, no whammies. Big money, no whammies. Oh no, 6 gold pieces.
Okay. All right, roll a d12 twice.
All right, give me a ham shank. Ham shank, I got a 2.
You have 10 sticks of chalk.
That's it.
And one more roll.
8.
You have 50 feet of rope, but no grappling hook.
Don't I get a weapon?
You do, yep. Roll a d4.
Staff of the Magi. Got 3.
You have a staff.
Yay! Staff of the Magi.
Nope. Ted, do you want to roll or you want to use your own money?
I did the purchasing thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is that
Weak sauce,
everybody?
Ted.
What?
Real
Weak
weak.
sauce.
Real weak, Ted. Real weak.
Weak sauce, Ted.
Real weak.
Good.
All right. So be aware that Matt, one of your restrictions as a knight though is that you can only use melee weapons, right? Understand that
This is true.
it is ignoble and very common. It is a disdainful thing to you disdain the use of missile weapons, right?
Yeah, I look down at all of them.
That's right.
So the sausage still counts as melee.
Yes, it does.
Prior sausage.
Yeah.
John, can I trade my water skin in for a wine skin?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Just whatever you fill it with.
Yeah, but one, I won't feel the evisceration by skeletons quite so much.
Okay, so let's roll for your trinkets.
Ooh.
Okay, everyone roll me a D100 and tell me what you get.
I don't have a D100. I have
2D10. You know how this works.
98
98.
plasma rifle. Plasma rifle.
All right. As you get you have a wooden holy symbol of the one true God studded with nails. It's fucking metal, dude.
I'm sorry, but I got a 69.
69, dude. All right, what are you again? You're a hunter. You have an empty notebook, but anything written in it disappears at sunrise.
Oh.
It'd be useful for contracts.
Yeah.
Right here. All right, John. Our noble knight got a 14.
A 14. You have an ash wand stained with the blood of a troll.
Ah.
Hmm.
That I cannot use.
It's not blood, that's bogeys, dude. I saw that movie.
Ted?
11.
11. You have a miniature brass gnome, and it appears on your pillow looking at you each morning.
Every day, Ted writes in my notebook, "Don't forget the gnome." Every morning.
It's not the size of a man's gnome.
That's awesome. I love that.
All right, so I got coins.
It beats chocolate, right?
I'm gonna look real quick on the Carcass Crawler for the additional adventuring gear list.
Oh, John posted it. It's in the resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm looking on the PDF. I just can't find.
Yeah. So you can use your other gold to buy other stuff. Be aware that I will be keeping strict track of like drinks you buy and how many, what your lodgings are for the night and all that sort of stuff. So you can feel free to spend every last drop, but have fun sleeping out in the cold.
Oh.
Now we have some kind of fun stuff here where we're going to roll what your birthday is and what sign of the moon you were actually born under, which is going to give you a little added thing.
I want a thing.
So, 1 second here. Where's the old random dates here? Oh, yeah. Okay. I need everyone to roll me a D12. And then I assume no one really has a D30 on hand, right? Okay. Everyone roll me a D12.
Have one around. All right, I got an 11, John.
An 11. Okay, you were born in the month of Obthryme. Obthryme. That's basically November.
Wait, can you spell that again? Because that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Obthryme.
Okay.
That's like November. D12s, I'm waiting.
I got an 8
Oh,
I missed.
for me.
8 for Matt? Okay. 8. You were born in Lillipythe. Or Lillipith. Lillipythe. August, obviously. Anyone else?
Obviously.
I'm a 5.
Harchment. Harchment. Mike?
You're
Okay,
muted.
you're muted, Mike.
You're muted, Mike.
Sorry, I was eating cookies. Harchment, Harchmont.
Ment. Did you roll 5 as well?
I rolled a 4. I'm sorry.
You were born in Simswald. Symswald.
Why?
All right. Does anyone have a D30? No one has a D30, right?
I can get one.
Okay, so everybody else.
Ted can roll for all of us.
Okay, there you go. That'll work.
That'll work.
Assuming I can find it in here.
Can you spell my month again, John? Simswell?
Simswald. Symswald.
What is my birthstone? Because that stuff's super important.
I gotta know what to get you for the wedding.
You find it?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, you're rolling for everybody.
Okay.
So let's do you first.
Is it straight up 30 or are some of these months 31?
Some of them are different. Just tell me what the die roll is, and I'll tell you what to do if it's weird.
All right. So this will be for David.
Okay.
22.
22. Okay. So David, you were born on, what is it? Harchment 22.
Mm-hmm.
And then next down my screen is Matt. The 11th.
Okay, the 11th of
Lillipythe.
Lillipythe.
And Mike, you are the 27th of whatever.
Simswald.
Right, that one. And for my own fine self, 23.
Obthryme.
Love that. Obthryme the 23rd. Practically Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, so there are 12 moons of the year. Each of them has like a flavorful name, like the grinning moon or the beast moon or the squamous moon. And depending on whether or not they were waxing full or waning at the time of your birth, it's considered to be specifically auspicious in certain areas, right? So we're going to actually lean into it and actually give you like a mechanical benefit because you were born in a certain moon sign.
Heck yeah.
So let's go around the horn with the way it's displayed on the stream. So let's go with Mike first. What is your birthday?
I am born on the 27th day of Simswald.
Simswald, 27th. All right, you were born. Okay, so you're gonna write this down somewhere. You were born on the waning squamous moon.
There's a cream for that.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's bad.
All right,
That was
and
awesome.
because you were born under that infamous moon, you have a +1 bonus to attack rolls against serpents and worms. That's WYRMS, of course.
That's pretty cool. Never knew you were such a squamous worm hater.
And then, actually, let me look up. Hold on a second. Actually, have this in hard copy. One moment, please.
I need to pick an alignment. What alignment are you guys doing?
What day were you born?
What alignment is everyone besides David doing?
What?
It depends upon my liege.
Mike, what was your birthday again?
I am the 27th day of Simswald.
Okay, cool. All right, next up, David.
The 22nd of I gotta read it again. Harchment.
Harchment. Okay. You were actually born. That's actually a small holiday. It's actually the feast of Saint Abthius. You knew that, of course, I'm sure. But
fewer presents, though, unfortunately.
let's see. Let's see who Saint Abthius is.
Did you spell
Abthius.
Cool.
Abthius is known as the Everlustrous. He is the major patron of ambassadors and righteous vengeance. It's his feast day. So there are 100 saints in Dolmenwood. I think around like 30 or so are like the major saints. Saint Abthius is one of the major ones. But in general, there's so many saints that like there's a good chance that your birthday falls on actually a feast day. Yours didn't, Mike. But those feasts are usually only celebrated in towns or settlements where there is a shrine or some sort of building that's been erected in honor of that saint. So that sort of thing. Like so it's not necessarily like everyone was partying whenever you were born. You know what I mean? It's like there might not have been a shrine to Saint Abthius there, but just like
at least not in your town, but.
Okay, so you were born on what day? The 22nd of Harchment, the feast of St. Abthius. 22nd Harchment is the waning night's moon, Knigget, I should say.
Knigget.
The waning
I got you.
waning night's moon. Oh, right, under that auspicious sign, when you are in melee with knights or soldiers, you act first on a tied initiative as if you had won initiative.
When in melee against knights and soldiers, you win tied initiatives?
You win tied initiatives, yeah.
Matt,
You're welcome, gang, since this is party initiative. You're welcome.
Well, no, it means like if we roll group initiative and the enemy wins and you guys lose, you still get to go ahead of everybody else.
Individually, I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah. So it would be you, enemies, then the rest of the party.
Yes.
Okay. Who's next? Ted.
23rd of Obthryme.
Obthryme. Yes. Deep Autumn. 23rd of Obthryme is not a feast day. But it is the waning narrow moon when you were born. Oh, this is a good one. You get a +1 bonus to attack rolls against fairies and demi-fae.
Watch out, Tinkerbell. Here I come.
And Matt, what was your birthday?
My birthday is the 11th of Lillipithe.
Lillipithe. Lillipithe is high summer. Not a feast day. 11th of Lillipithe is a waxing moon. The only waxing moon in the party. It's the waxing witch's moon. Is when you were born. And when you receive healing magic, the number of hit points you gain increases by 1.
Ooh.
Has to be healing magic.
That's handy.
Not just healing.
If only someone in our party had healing magic.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, someone will soon. Section 3.
Yeah, so alignments, same as Holding Oak. So you lawful, neutral, and chaotic, right? Basically, without going too much into it, it's basically good guys, neutral guys, or bad guys. Don't be chaotic. Just do me that favor. Just don't. It'll just make me tired. I don't want to be tired when I play. So that's basically the deal. It is not going to be like the Morkockian, that sort of like forces of chaos and law that you align yourself. So there's no alignment languages or anything like that. It's just,
Right. It's just some men just want to watch the world burn.
That's right. Yep. So basically just pick lawful and neutral and call it a day. And equipment, you got all your abilities down. Is there anything abilities-wise that you don't understand? Or that
Yes. What is the non-thief exploration values? In the exploration table. Are there any?
if your class description does not give you specifics, it's 1 in 6.
So I don't add any additional.
Except for strength, because that is modified by your strength.
That's correct. Yeah. So open stuck doors based on your strength. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So put a +1. So, and where's the movement values?
Yeah, turning encumbrance chart now with the coin advanced or whatever you were calling it.
I'm sorry. Say again, Ted. I didn't quite hear that.
So we're using the coin method, right?
Yeah.
And you're basing movement on encumbrance.
Yeah.
Is there a chart for?
Yes, there is. Hold on.
Our character for the hole in the oak, but I don't see it anywhere in here.
Give me a second. I will find it for you. Adventuring, time, weight, and movement. Detailed encumbrance. Okay, so page 203 of the Advanced Fantasy Player's Tome. Detailed encumbrance in the bottom right corner of the page.
203, you say?
Yes. So you just tally up your whole thing. Remember, you need to add a flat 80 for all of your adventuring gear.
Yep.
Remember, too, that the smattering of coin that you got counts. Right?
By the way, I bought some stuff.
Yep.
And tell you now, just so everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a whistle.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a magnifying glass. And I bought a fishing rod and tackle.
Sweet. Cool. There is actually a fishing procedure in this game.
Yeah, there is.
So add up the smattering of gold pieces that you have, the 80 flat for adventuring gear, and then your weapons and armor. And that total, you're going to look at that chart under detailed encumbrance, and that'll is going to tell you your movement rate. Okay. The number to the left, is your exploration rate. The number to the right is your encounter rate. And then you're going to take that exploration rate and you're going to divide it by 5, and that's what your overland movement rate is in in miles per day.
I lost all of that, but I will catch up on it later. That was a lot.
All right. Do you see the chart?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a number of what your total weight is?
No.
So,
but don't worry about it. I'll sort that out later.
You said overland is divided by 3.
Divided by 5. Take the main number.
Yeah. Divided by 5.
Divided by 5. That's the number of miles you can travel per day.
Perfect. Got it. Cool. I'm fast for now.
I'm 12 miles per day, gentlemen.
Yeah,
24 miles a day. Good thing I'm chaotic and I'm leaving you behind, just like John requested.
So, looking at the character sheet here, you see encounters, exploration, and movement, right?
Yep.
The encounters one, the Dex mod initiative, you can basically just cross out. Like, we're not going to use that. Charisma modified or reaction rolls that's from your charisma. Very important. And then, let's see, what else? Yeah, unarmored AC is 10 plus Dex, so you want to put that in. And then melee and missile modifiers, you're going to pull from strength and Dex. Those are for combat attacks. Just remember that this is actually similar to 5th edition. Your Dex does, or maybe it does affect it in 5th. I can't remember now. Anyways, Dex only applies to attacks, not to damage for missile attacks. Strength, however, it applies to both.
What's the base attack bonus again, John?
That's under the THACO column in your class table, but you're not going to write down the THACO number. You're going to write down the number of brackets. It's 0 for everybody at first level, so just put a 0 in there.
Right.
And got your XPs, right? Got all that stuff put down? Okay.
All good.
XP should be 0, right?
I've got 2250.
Yeah, Ted's got the lowest with the fighter at 2,000. So.
Oh, the next level XPs, you mean? Yeah.
No one took Friar or Thief and Cleric. Those are all like the speedy classes.
Right.
You're making me wish I took a Friar every minute.
They're pretty sweet. Hunters are dope though. Okay, I think that's it for character generation, except for names, obviously. I have also some lovely Dolmenwood flavor name generators that are race and sometimes class specific if you want.
I have mine already.
Is it basically medieval England kind of names? Like,
Yeah, they're like English folklore sort of based names. They're cool. Like the ones I have are actually really kind of cool.
could I just go with Aelfric?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
As a knight, I would pick one of the lower houses of Dolmenwood, correct?
You would, yes. You have to determine like which house you're actually aligned with. So you could choose one of the lower houses, the noble houses, or you could choose to be a knight of the Duke himself, who he all the other houses are vassals of the Duke of Brackenwold. We are going to be starting in the town of Prigwort, which is in the almost the dead center of the forest, and that is actually under the rule of Lady Harrowmore, who rules from Harrowmore Castle to the north of Prigwort. So Prigwort is basically like a self-governing city. It's actually run by an elevated council of brewers, and they basically do their own thing. But technically, you know how these towns are. They're sort of like they're under control of the noble, but the noble doesn't really give a shit as long as she's getting her cut, right? Anyways, the Lady Harrowmore would be, if you want to be from Prigwort, which you don't have to be, you would be in service to House Harrowmore. But there are a bunch of other noble houses that you could be in service to.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ones listed on the knight page. I'm assuming that the little that are in brackets is the alignment of each lord.
That is correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. But that doesn't. So, Ramius, Malbleet, and it's one of the M's. I can't remember if it's Merkin or Mulbrecht, but one of those three are goat houses.
Okay.
But you can be like I said, like it's all mixed up. So you can be a member of, be loyal to one of the goat houses, and you do not have to be the same alignment as your lord.
Well, I love the idea of being of House Merkin, which is funny. I think it makes sense to be a follower of Lady Harrowmore. Lovely. I like the little bee on the shield.
You want Harrowmore? Okay, cool.
Or whatever that is.
Yeah, so
Fleur de lis.
Yeah, Lady Harrowmore, she is, let's see. She is a famed intellect, an expert on matters historical. Cool-headed but not cold-hearted. Recently, she's taken a more direct involvement in the affairs of Prigwort, bolstering the town guard against the growing presence of Crookhorn ruffians in the area. Crookhorns are the corrupted, bestial goat people.
So would I be, in terms of like last names, like would he be, of Harrowmore, or his last name be anything? He's from that house. Is he? I guess I start as a squire at this level.
Yeah, you're basically like a squire, so you wouldn't even actually be able to call yourself a sir yet. You would probably have a knight who's mentoring you. But in general, the idea is that if you're an adventuring knight, that you're basically like a hedge knight, really. But you are bound to House Harrowmore though, so. So you would probably have like your own last name as well if you wanted to, which I'm more than willing to provide if you like. Let's see.
I would not mind rolling for last names.
You want to roll for a last name? It's
like one thing you don't get to choose.
Sure. Why don't you have Ted roll you a d30?
Okay.
Be a good one, Ted.
This is your last name, Matt?
This is my last name.
11.
Dregger. Dregger. You don't have to take it. You can,
Actually, oh, okay. I was gonna say if you don't want it, I'll take it because that's kind of the last name I was thinking of anyway. Because I'm thinking my guy is probably from Dreg, so. Can we
Okay.
roll something else?
You can have Dregger, and I'll be something else.
Okay. All right. This is for Matt. For real. The other one was for me.
Okay.
Matt. 25.
It's got to be a good one.
Oh.
Swinney. Swinney.
Swinny?
Yep.
Winney.
I also have
Sponge bottom.
I have
Well, you're funny you should say that, Ted.
I have fighter nicknames and titles, and I have magic user monikers as well, like Abernathy the blank, that sort of thing.
You can roll one for me.
My guy's name is Snell Mudclump.
So hold on.
Snell Mudclump?
Mudclump.
right.
Would it be fair to say that I already have my companion, or is that something that I have?
No, you have to find your companion. Yeah, you have to find it in play.
Gotcha.
So, John, I had gone for Aelfric Birth Thistle, but if you want to roll me
What's the
nickname.
what's the last name again?
Birth Thistle, BIRTHISTLE,
Birth Thistle. Okay.
and Aelfric is AELFRIC.
Okay.
If you want to roll me
does anyone else? Yeah, I will. Yeah. Does anyone else?
Aelfric the
Yeah,
idiot or whatever.
I will. Yeah. Does anyone else have a name?
Yeah.
My name is Snell.
Snell Mudclump. Yep.
Nell Mudclump MUDCLUMP.
Got it.
Okay.
Matt.
And the brave Halifax Swinney.
Halifax Swinney. Good name.
Wrong name.
Ted.
A mighty squire.
I'll be Argus Dregger.
Argus.
AR
Doesn't sound trustworthy.
DREGGER.
Okay.
Argus Dregger.
Ted.
But I would love to roll a
Sure.
nickname if you want.
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So 16.
16. The bear.
That told ironically, no doubt.
And roll another D30 for Mike.
Okay. 1.
1. You are Aelfric Birthistle of sights yet unseen.
I'll be right back, Joe.
All right, cool.
First, it hasn't been anywhere yet.
Sounds wizardy.
Okay.
Cool.
All right,
Right.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yep. Give me a second here. Let's see if I can figure out a way to share this puppy.
A turn is like 10 minutes, right?
A turn is 10 minutes. That's correct. Yeah.
So I can do like my floating disc for like an hour, guys. So it's like we're heading back to town. Let's throw everything on the floating disc and go, right?
Yeah. I purchased some large sacks, by the way.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I'm imagining that Argus, the bear, being from Dreg, it's just a sort of common man at arms. He's not a knight, right? He's not fancy anything. He's just not exactly a mercenary, I guess, but a man at arms. He would be, and now he's gone off to do his own thing. Dreg being known for a lot of ill repute sort of things, and he's decided to get out of town and go adventuring with you guys. Does that sound about right, John?
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm just focusing on
Oh,
other things. Sorry. It's okay. Say it again.
So Argus I'm imagining he's from Dreg. Just a basic man at arms, a guy who had some weapons and armor,
Mhm.
and he worked. He's not. I don't see him as a mercenary so much, but like, he worked for somebody in town. Uh, you know, and now he's done with that because it's a town of ill repute. He's decided to go adventure.
Okay, great. Sounds good. From Dreg. Got it written down. All right, I have shared with you guys. You should be able to pop it out if you want to look. A basic Dolmenwood map.
In the resources, or
No, in in the chat, in Discord chat, in the video. I've shared the screen.
Oh, in the stream. I see. If I.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. There we go. Cool. Hadn't tried that yet.
So this is not necessarily accurate, but this has basically the major features that an average citizen would know. Okay, so basically, is what it is. It's like a hex map that has some features exposed, but don't assume that everything on here is accurate or anywhere near filled in. So it's like a player map, basically. So you can see that basically directly in this. So you see Lake Longmere, the main lake. If you head directly east of it, you'll see the town of Prigwort, about 3 or 4 hexes east. You see that?
Yep.
Okay, that's where we're going to start. Okay, that's in the heart.
Okay.
Harrowmore Castle is 1 hex to the north of Prigwort. There, you can see that there, Matt. Right, and then to the southeast. Outside the forest proper is Castle Brackenwold. There's a road that goes directly from Prigwort to Castle Brackenwold. Okay, so Castle Brackenwold is the capital of the Duchy of Brackenwold, of which Dolmenwood Forest is the large majority of the Duke's land. Okay, subdivided into his vassalages, which is the varying regions of Dolmenwood, which are not outlined here on that map. In general. This is very general, by the way. The Goat Lords have have their reign in the High Wold, which is basically the area to the southwest of Lake Longmere. All right, centered around the town of Lankshorn, and the let's see, the far west around Lake Longmere is shrouded in mystery, with rumors about the Watchers in the Woods, or the Watchers of the Stones, known as the race of men known as the Droon, who hoard occult secrets and are very, very secretive, and the church hates them and people distrust them and all this sort of good stuff. Directly to the west of Prigwort is the old abbey ruins of St. Clude, and St. Clude is actually the patron saint of Dolmenwood itself, because he is the only one of the saints that was actually martyred within the bounds of the woods itself, supposedly at this very spot which the abbey was raised upon, but now it lies in ruins. There was a great catastrophe that destroyed the abbey. No one really knows what exactly happened, but the abbey was basically the foundation of the church's power within underneath the trees of Dolmenwood. And after the abbey was destroyed, the church never recovered its power. So in the olden days, there were shrines on all the roads and hidden deep within the forest, and the presence of the one true God and the saints was very, very strong. But ever since the abbey was destroyed, the church's power has basically pulled back. So the church's power now is rooted in Castle Brackenwold, which is the seat of the bishop. There is a beautiful cathedral there. And now all the old shrines are sort of lost and been taken over by the forest and that sort of thing. Now there are still plenty of like church dwellings in the towns and in settlements and stuff like that. Generally the people of Dolmenwood are pious people who believe in the one true God, but there is a strong element of paganism that kind of runs through those people because their ancestral lines predate the oncoming of Peliotism. So, what am I trying to say? So, one of the goals of the Peleiotic Church is actually to recover those shrines, to find out where they lie. That's an obvious thing that you could always do for the church. And of course, the big one is to actually plumb the ruins of the old abbey and restore its greatness, because that would be a huge boon to the church. But there are many forces aligned against that. So we're not going to go into all the differing things that are available to you, but I just want to give you a quick look at the map and sort of put yourself there. Now, when I was so slowly accruing Dolmenwood lore as this stuff was released, you may recognize that the home base that you guys went back to every time in Hole in the Oak was called Castle Brackenwold. And the inn that you were at was one of the inns in Castle Brackenwold. We will not be having it. We will not be placing the game there, but it is a place that you can go to. So just be aware that this is similar to, I guess, the closest thing that we've kind of experienced with this, at least as a group, is Pathfinder 2. When we were doing the second module, where we were kind of hex crawling through the jungle, right? But it's complete, like, the only thing that's similar is that you're going through hexes and uncovering secrets. You know what I mean? The procedures and everything are going to be completely different. So it'll be heavy reliance on like resource management, tracking your rations. There are procedures for, and they're really, really fun actually, for fishing and foraging and camping. Like what you do in camp, like getting firewood and telling stories and setting watch and all that sort of fun stuff. Weather will be a huge factor in the game. Every day we'll roll to see what the weather's like. I'm going to roll randomly for the actual starting date of the year, which I'm actually looking really forward to because that will change the whole outlook of the campaign. You know, I think every other campaign we've ever played, there's just always assumed that it's just sort of like temperate, like everything's just fine.
I love this.
You know, yeah. So once again, in order so that it surprises me just as much as the game surprises you with events, a lot of this will be like procedurally generated on my part, and similar to what I said way back in April with the Stonehill one, I will never plan more than one session in advance, ever. So there will be no ongoing storylines or anything like that. I have a bunch of seeds that I will plant for situations and scenarios and quests and stuff like that. Very video game style. Like you're going to have a lot of like NPCs with like exclamation points above their heads, right? That sort of thing. And you can pick and choose whatever you want to do, but I have no idea what you're going to do. And you can go off into any direction that you want. I will only plan for the next session in advance. And the weather will be a big part of that. So how, you know, depending on the time of year, that will affect everything. And what's really cool is that what Gavin has put together here is it's not just a simple roll like, okay, it's winter, now make up everything else. He has like this really strong foundation of like what it's like at that time of year, what it means to be this day. There's all these sorts of crazy fairy stuff like unseasons that have the chance of happening, and just a lot of cool shit that's based around like really rooting it into a strong world. So should be pretty fun. And just keep in mind that the whole theme of it is going to be, it's very much heavily based on British folklore and fairy tale with all the inherent anachronisms and sort of time bubble aspects that kind of is reminiscent of, if you know what I mean. So you'll have like a mix of like, you know, Dark Ages stuff with High Middle Ages also, but then sometimes you're going to meet a guy with a powdered wig on, you know what I mean? Just because these tales kind of grew over time and, you know, became part of the culture through centuries and stuff like that. So you know, you're going to find a lot of an anachronism. It's basically the way it's going to go. But and also, it's not Germanic, right? Like there's a difference between like British fairy tales and like Grimm's fairy tales, right? That's a different thing, right? So. And I think a lot of them sometimes are conflated, but this is very specifically British, right? And it's also not like Celtic really either, you know, but except for the stuff that that melange that is the English people stole from certain cultures, like that, you know what I mean? So there is the notion of like she and stuff like that, obviously, and the fairy houses and fairyland and all that kind of stuff. But it's a heavily the arcane nature and finicky, what's the word I'm looking for? That's an F word for fairy.
Fae?
No, it's like finicky. Fickle, thank you. Yeah, the fickle nature of the Fae is very much a huge theme in the campaign, and that there's always sort of like this other place that's sort of just to the side, but it's much. I find it much more flavorful than the 5e Feywild, which this is I don't know. It's just it tickles me a little bit more than the default setting for D&D. So yeah, that's the plan. So we'll start in Pregnant Work next time with those characters, which I love. We got Aelfric, Snell, Halifax, and Argus. Magic user, hunter, knight, and fighter. Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Sound good?
Sounds good, man. I'm excited.
Cool. All right.
This is gonna be
So
awesome.
don't hang up yet. Just let me close out this stream. So everybody, I'm hoping to continue this on for as long as we can make it manage. So hopefully this will be the first in a long series of videos. And thank you all for watching, and I hope this is the start of something cool. So we'll see you next time.